Okay!
Kinulang sa height. Ang pangit mo mag-feel!
Lagi siyang may disclaimer na feel shy siya.
Hi, I'm Ina. Hi, I'm Nika.
My name is Sam.
I am Martin.
My name is Trish.
Hey guys, my name is Seth,
And
this is my Healthy Egg
Egg
Recipe.
I'll be making one of the classic dish that you will always find in Chinese restaurants, egg drop soup. The ingredients that we are going to use are all pantry friendly, but if you want to add vegetables or proteins, kung anong gusto mo, feel free to add. So first, we're going to add our chicken stock, just enough to fill our pot. White pepper, salt, turmeric, sesame oil, and sugar. Malapit na to matapos, guys. Sobrang dali lang. Cornstarch slurry, the egg, and I'm just gonna whisk it, scramble it. This part is crucial because as we all know, egg drop soup, it has this ribbon-like egg. Stir in one hand, tapos ontiin natin yung egg. Okay. Ah! Ayan! Paunti-unti lang. Mumukha na siyang egg drop, guys. And we are almost done. Yung last step ko na lang is to add the scallions. Pero after this, you can add vegetables or protein, tofu, chicken, for that added nutrition to your diet. Diba? Tapos, you can just either top this into your bowl, or what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna incorporate the scallions in our soup para added flavor. And that is done. Tapos na. Kain na tayo. Try na natin. Mainit pa siya. It's warm, silky. It's so comforting. Parang alam mo yung gusto mo na lang umupo, enjoy mo to, and savor how comforting it is. Especially on rainy days. Perfect to.
Steamed eggs for breakfast. Meron talaga akong parang obsession or fixation with steamed eggs right now. And it's actually a perfect breakfast if you have PCOS. Because right now, I'm trying to heal my gut. At the same time, I want still to feel parang fed or nabubusog ako, like satisfied ako. Okay, so it depends on you. So pwedeng salt lang, pwedeng a bit of soy sauce. This is light soy sauce. A bit of sesame oil. Just a bit. Then season with a bit of salt. Slowly pour your hot chicken broth and then while beating the eggs para hindi maluto yung eggs. So dahan-dahan nating ilalagay. So this one actually pwede kayo gumamit ng hot water, but if you want added umami, unsalted chicken broth is perfect for this one. Okay, that's it. We're just going to skim off some of the bubbles on top just so we could have like a very silky eggs later on once it's cooked. Put this in a heat-proof bowl. You're then going to cover this with cling wrap. So make sure yung cling wrap nyo yung food grade na pwede siya i-steam. Syempre, healthy doesn't mean boring, diba? Like this dish that I'm gonna make today, it's healthy but you still feel satisfied and full. In low heat, we are going to steam our eggs hanggang maging set siya, parang flan-like consistency. Woo! We made it. It survived. Sorry, merong kinulang sa height, guys. Kinulang sa height. Okay, we're gonna simmer this for around 15 to 20 minutes on low heat until it's one solid gelatinous layer. I want to add a nice salad to go on top of the steamed eggs. And perfect na perfect ang kamote tops dyan. It's an added fiber. At the same time, my vitamin A, vitamin C. I'm gonna blanch that one for just a few seconds. See? This is done already. Directly from steaming or hot water, we're gonna plunge it in cold water or ice cold water. So this is para ma-stop natin yung cooking process ng ating kamote top. The sauce is pretty simple. A bit of light soy sauce, rice vinegar, sesame oil, pinch of sugar, and that's it. Quick mix lang. Mix, 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 mix. Then, our kamote tops. Super simple lang nito, pero panalo sa lasa. Tapos, add tayo ng sesame seeds. So, kayo guys, ano yung mga goals nyo this year? Let me know. Comment below. Gusto kong mabasa at baka ma-inspire ako sa mga goals nyo for year 2026. Kamote top salad is done. Let's check on our eggs. Ooh. So, let's wiggle it a bit. Okay. Nice and jiggly. Pero hindi naman super firm. That's a good sign. Let's take it out. Ayan. Oops. So as you can see, it jiggles, but it's not super duper firm. Show you guys how beautiful our steamed eggs turned out. Wow, wow, sobrang soft, it's delicate, it's light, it's perfect sa breakfast. If you're like me na ayaw ng matamis sa breakfast, this is super perfect kasi it's gentle on the tummy.
Our eggs on egg noodles, the herbs, the sesame seeds, the eggs, and the noodles as well. And it's spicy. It's perfect if you're in a low-calorie diet. So over here we have 6 medium to large eggs. Just gonna crack it in a bowl. If you are conscious about your fat and cholesterol, need to make sure that I hit my protein goals. So the only way for me to do that is eggs, tofu, but mostly eggs. And it can be a bit boring most of the time, as in. So over here, we're just gonna do this to our eggs until it is nice and well incorporated. We're gonna season this with chicken powder. You can use salt, pepper, MSG, up to you. Boom. Siguro half a cube. And we're gonna put a bit of pepper. Yan. So sa mga health conscious dyan, sa mga may gout, di ba? Na you're trying to hit your protein goals din. Eggs are the key, my friend. You just have to put in the technique. Over high heat. This has been oiled slightly. If we're talking about healthy egg recipes, normally yung mga tao, they resort to like low-calorie food and add in your eggs. And we're just gonna constantly stir in mixture. Doesn't mean that if it's low-calorie, it's healthy, because I believe when we talk about healthy, kailangan mo pa rin ini-enjoy siya. And you just wanna use the whole wok kasi mainit yan lahat. You wanna do this. Constantly scraping the sides to avoid overcooking most of the eggs. If you get to this stage, you can turn off the heat, and the carryover cooking will finish cooking the eggs. Chop it like so. If gusto nyo mince, bahala kayo. 2 red chilies. And a great hack if you are looking for healthy Low-calorie recipes is to use a lot of herbs because they're super low in calorie, super fragrant, and they're super flavorful. So with this, I'm using parsley. With the stems, I am going to saute them together with the garlic and chilies. Chop just for garnish. Next is the spring onions. Just gonna chop the root. Cut them siguro mga ganyan. Just for texture din. In a smoking hot wok, we're gonna add in our oil of choice. For me, it's going to be chili oil. So we're gonna chop in our garlic, sile, parsley stalks, and our spring onion whites. Just until fragrant. Using chicken powder. We're gonna use chicken powder. Add your fish sauce. Add your ketchup and your dark soy. Oh god, and we can add in our egg noodles. I'm using here about 300 grams. To that, we're gonna add water to cook this. If the water evaporates quickly, feel free to add more until the noodles are fully cooked. So as we can see, the water is fully evaporated now. Just gonna agitate this to develop the starch. Then, we are gonna add in our eggs. So lahat ng, out of the 6, you can choose half lang siguro muna. And all of our herbs. A bit of Shaoxing wine to finish. And then that's it. Bango. So now we have here our eggs on egg noodles. Just gonna taste. Now, as you can see, napaka-vibrant pa rin ang color ng herbs. It's because we didn't overcook them. When we place them in, we turn off the heat agad, and that is key when you're cooking with herbs. It's very umami because they season them well. The noodles, the eggs, and everything. It's very textural. From the herbs, the sesame seeds, the eggs, and the noodles as well. And it's spicy. It's perfect if you're in a low-calorie diet. Again, when you're cooking with eggs, hindi dapat siya boring. Just have to add technique and you have to season them really, really generously.
The crab Foo Yong. So the one obvious healthy twist is the abundance of veggies. So marami tayong gagamiting repolyo, cabbage. Still using crab, wala lang tayong alige. Kasi crab, I mean, if you compare it to shrimp, it does have a bit of sodium, but it has lower cholesterol, it has more benefits to it. Honestly, this is how I sneak in veggies, lalo na sa mga kids na ayaw ng gulay or yung mga, I guess, adults na ayaw ng gulay. I'm using 6 eggs today since maraming kakain. Some soy sauce, sesame oil. Yung sesame oil, lagi siyang finishing or pang-enhance. It enhances flavor and fragrance. Hindi siya pwede panggisa talaga. And then a bit of brown sugar. So, we're not gonna add salt, just pepper after. Kasi yung sodium natin, yung lasa nung magiging overall dish will come from the crab meat that we're cooking. But here, we can add our carrots and our cabbage. So, dito pa lang, aside from it being healthy, this is actually extending the dish. Now, a tablespoon of oil should be enough. And that's already super hot. Onions, garlic. Also a reason why I grated the carrots so that it doesn't need to cook for so long. So ngayon, since we are doing a healthy egg recipe, we should be maximizing the flavor and the taste. And the reason why I'm using a wok and cooking it in high heat, because I want to get that char. You'll see the onions are a bit browned, pero hindi siya yung brown na sunog. The egg mixture. So bago pa siya maluto, I can see the sides are already setting. I'll add some of the sprouts. Yung crabs. Kung ayaw mo ng crabs, you need something that's like high protein. Pwede kang gumamit ng chicken. Kung pwede sa'yo beef, use very lean ground beef. So more of sa technique and flavor tayo magiging Foo Yong yan. So for this one, we'll let the residual heat cook the whole thing. And then, while that's chillin', we'll make the gravy. So super quick ingredients. You can use water or stock. I'm using light chicken stock, light soy sauce, and a bit of pepper. Quickly mix it. We'll slowly add in our cornstarch slurry. So at first, might freak you out. It's a bit murky, but once the starch is cooked through, it'll start clearing up again, like this. Super quick, super simple. And the reason why we're using a slurry, para shiny and iba yung lapot niya. I feel like this can feed, which is a good thing. The usual crab Foo Yong, full of sodium, very salty, very flavorful. This one, we get less salt, but still maximum flavor tayo dito. Super good.
It's called Mayak because it's seriously addicting. It translates to drug eggs. Fun fact, I actually thought this recipe was called Mayak Eggs. Okay, so today we are making Mayak Eggs. We will start first with 6 eggs, and we have here our boiling water. I just have to drop it very carefully. Let me tell you, the hardest part with this recipe is perfecting the soft boil and peeling it after, because, I mean, it's up to your preference if you want hard-boiled or soft-boiled, but let's be real, soft-boiled wins. Yung tamang yolky lang sa gitna. So, let's set a timer for 6-7 minutes. When I make this at home, I usually get the eggs from the fridge, so it's around 7 minutes. And shout out to my brother because he loves this recipe. Okay, let's make it 6 minutes. So while this is ongoing, we will work on the sauce or the marinade that the egg will go in. We have here a red chili. Now, I know not a lot of people like spicy food, but personally, I really enjoy it. So if you're sensitive to spice, you can lessen the chili or you can actually omit it out. What I really like about Mayak Eggs is you can adjust it according to your liking, and it's something that you can create in batches. So in our house, we usually cook about a dozen of eggs, and then we just store it in the fridge. And trust me, the longer it stays in the fridge, the better, because it really soaks up that soy sauce marinade. Okay, it's been 6 minutes, 30 seconds. It's time to turn off the heat on our eggs. And iaahon natin, and then we'll put it in some cold water just so it's easier to peel later on. Okay, there's one that cracked. I can see it kasi nagputi-puti yung water. Oh well, okay. Continuing with this, I'll just let it cool for a bit so it's easier for me to peel off. But we will continue with the sauce. Here I have my bowl. 1 cup of soy sauce in. And then 1 cup of water in. To that, we are going to add in our chopped garlic. We'll also add in our red chilies. Again, if you don't like spicy, you can omit this part. Red chilies in. Spring onions. We will also be adding brown sugar. Now, you can use honey if you want. You can use brown sugar, white sugar, but I feel like everyone has brown sugar at home. And then we'll also put in some sesame seeds. If you want a stronger sesame taste, you can also add in sesame oil. Just mix to combine. Perfection! We have to hope and pray that we got the perfect consistency inside. And you won't know unless you cut it open later. Okay. Medyo bukas pa tayo matatapos dito. Okay, and then? And then the other side also. Both sides.
And then you do that.
A few moments later.
Here we have our sauce, and sadly we only have 4 eggs left. But we will put it in the sauce. So just dump it in. There you go. And then you just have to like mix it around just to make sure it's evenly coated. It's supposed to be 6, okay? So it's supposed to be more filled. You can leave the egg soaked for a few hours or you can leave it overnight. Lucky for you, I made some last night and promise, gawa ko talaga to. Gawa ko talaga to, promise. I know this recipe by memory and I promise I made this last night. And I transferred it in the container kasi nga I placed it in the fridge and let that egg sit in that marinade. So here it is. Ta-da-da-da! Ta-da! My recipe of Mayak eggs. Okay. I also really love pairing this with noodles. Just thought I'd let you know. Sobrang sarap. Kahit itlog lang siya, pwede ng ulamin talaga. It's not as salty as you would think it is because it was 1 part water and 1 part soy sauce. You can really taste the marinade of the sauce on the egg whites, but it also seeps through the egg yolk. And just a little bit of the sauce with the rice, with the egg, seaweed. Perfect! Perfect meal.
Egg white frittata. You can use even just leftover vegetables you've already cut, some of the trimmings. The more like rustic it is, I think the more organic your frittata is gonna look as well. I'm gonna start with cutting my onions. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so next I'm gonna use cherry tomatoes. You can use regular if you want, but I think this will add some nice texture and nice little pop of tomato flavor. Next comes probably the messiest / hardest part of this recipe. So I'm going to be separating the egg yolks from the egg whites. So I'm just going to put all in already, and then I'm going to grab them with my fingers. These are clean, I swear. And this will depend on how much you want. So from here, you can really just eyeball it. I'm going to go in my fingers. I promise they're clean. And there you have it. One out. So I've separated all of the egg yolks from the egg whites, set that aside. And then I am going to saute my spinach and get everything mixed up. And what I want to do is I want to put my spinach in now so that as the pan heats, it wilts slowly. I don't want it to get like really black right away. And I think bringing it to heat with the pan is what's going to help. Just a little bit of salt. I want to take it out just like that so that it's not super dark and it's not super wilted. And some of that residual heat will help it later. Over there. So here. You can use red onions if that's what you have available. I'm just using whites right now. I like the sweetness. If you have apples in there, maybe keep it going. Carrots, whatever you like. Like I said, some leftovers that you have about to go bad in the fridge. This is a perfect healthy recipe to kind of like get rid of those and make sure everything is cooked. So I'm going to add the spinach back in. Then some tomatoes right there. I think that is almost done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this aside over here. I'm going to be whisking my egg whites just to add more kind of like air into it. And so it just doesn't become a big old fried egg. You want to add salt at the last second just so that you don't break down the proteins and it becomes flat and watery. When it gets all bubbly like that, don't mind it. That's fine. There's no really over whisking in this, and you are just using egg whites. So I'm gonna give this one last saute. Pour in my egg whites. Just like that. Get rid of some of those air bubbles. Here we go. From here. So this went into the oven for like 5 minutes, just until it gets a little firm on top. What you want to do with frittatas, you want to give them a big turn. They have nice crust at the bottom, and all those vegetables are still nice and juicy. I went 2 layers and then added some cashews on top just for a little crunch. And since we had some lying around, there you go. Nice and juicy, still fresh out of the oven. Perfect breakfast, perfect for meal prep, and perfect for hitting those protein intakes.
So, those are the 6 easy and healthy egg recipes. So, meron kayong variations of supposedly super easy, super minimal
But she
cooking
took the
required. Meron tayong easy cooking pero medyo may preparation like mine and Sam's, medyo marami kaming gulay. And then
Mine was super easy.
and your custard. Diba? So, just because it's egg doesn't mean it has to be boring. And keeping up with the 6 ways, anong masasuggest nyo na ingredients or even like a recipe mismo? I feel like it's very an easy thing to come up with that. Basketball around the Philippines.
Submit your videos.
Ball games.